Patron, it's such a privilege. We are so blessed to have our patron at 95 years of age to be with us. Limama, thank you so much. To the principal, Maharaj, thank you for hosting us. To Medluria Serube. Medluria Serube used to be my boss. She used to be our chairperson at the Agricultural Development Agency. It's a pleasure and we look forward to the keynote address. To Me Ednamonte from the African Bank, we're very excited. Thank you for being with us. We have a partnership with the African Bank. To the CEO of the foundation, Rema Tiba, thank you for all the hard work in arranging this lecture. To the Deputy Chair, Prof. Lina, thank you. To my trustees and the incoming trustees, to all the guests of honors and the diplomatic court, all protocol observed. To the guests and all those that are streaming live, thank you for joining us. Last week, I was crisscrossing KZN with the Motsuenyane Trust. And we started up north and we spent a few days. We stopped at different valleys, seeing the different inkosis. And one of the valleys that we stopped at was in the Keza area, in Ntshabele, one of the beautiful lands where the land is quite green and lush, and you've got spring water. You've got rivers meandering through the land, and you even have waterfalls, beautiful waterfalls that we drove through. And we sat with Inkosi Ntshabele, and he was telling us that, you know, he's quite concerned about the lack of development on one of the fertile land with so much water. And in the last days, last week, we then went to the south coast, around the Harding town in the south coast, in the Mzimkulwana Valley, beautiful valley where we drove through the forest, we drove through the Kwamcha forests, we then spent some time with Inkosi Jali in the Jali Valley. And we sat with him, and he was telling me a story that during the July unrest, his community was at risk of not being able to even buy food because the hiding town was closed. And as he's talking to me, I'm actually looking through a stream of water, and behind the hut, there's a forest that shows you how lush the land is. And on my way back, I was actually coming to the board meeting, and the flight was delayed. And I sat with my colleagues from University of South Africa Enterprise, and we were baffled and we were lost for words at the vastness of the land that we saw when we did the tour with the Motsuenyane Trust, and the water that was available. And in arriving at the airport, I rushed to our board meeting. And I thought of a quote which was mentioned by Professor Wiseman Nkutlu, who delivered the lecture in 2020 in this room. And he quoted from our patron's book that it must be a sin before the eyes of the Lord to have land and still suffer from hunger. And as a foundation, we exist, and we believe that the biggest challenges that we face as a country is poverty, it's hunger, and it's inequality. And we exist on a day-to-day to come up with solutions and solve some of those challenges. One of the partnerships that we have that we're very proud of is the partnership with the University of Pretoria. In 2020, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Tawane Kupe, announced the partnership that we were going to get to with the university. And I'm happy to report that we then engaged with the university. We had a workshop. Memory mentioned the workshop where we had all the different deans from the different faculties. We had the Faculty of Agricultural and Natural Sciences. We had the Dean from Economic and Management Sciences, the Onderstepoort campus, the Dean of Humanities, because we view the problems of this country as something that cannot be solved from one angle. The structural problems that we need to solve to make sure that the country goes forward, and the issue of hunger, which was earlier mentioned, is solved. And the partnership was then finally announced on the 27th of January this year, and we collaborated on 5 key issues. One of them is the alleviation of poverty and hunger, and the second one is entrepreneurship. The third collaboration is on the productive use of land, and the fourth one is looking at climate smart and the green economy to ensure that when there's this transition of the green economy, we have the people in the rural areas that are not left out in this development. And lastly, we partnered on the issue of revitalizing the economy, the township economy. So we're excited about what is going to come from that partnership. We've already identified an area where we have all these experts that are working with us as a foundation to ensure that we come up with pilot projects, we leverage the technical and the skill set that exists within the university, Professor Maharaj, to come up with practical solutions, because it doesn't help anyone for the university to do all this research that then goes into journals and nobody uses it. We also very much excited about the partnership with the African Bank. We announced a partnership, and we have a MOU with the African Bank, and we collaborated with the African Bank where, one, they acknowledged the founder of the bank. One of the stories which we came up when we were busy with this was that even the people that are working for the bank did not know that a black man started the bank. And it's a story that we are excited that one of the partnerships includes us doing a documentary. So there's a documentary that's coming up where it tracks the life of our patron and also how the bank was founded. And we think this story needs to be told, because even now with the freedom and the power and the leverages that we have black people that are not able to do what our patron was able to do with this generation during apartheid. In responding to Dr. Tami Mazwai last year, Dr. Rolkoza presenting the lecture here at the University of Pretoria at the Ola building, he said that one of the things that he observes is that he believes that those that are in power might not know how to use the leverage of power that they have to uplift the conditions of our people. Our patron always reminds us that the National Party legislated itself out of poverty, and it reminds us of the white problem, the white poor problem, which was done by the Carnegie Foundation study. And we believe that through such partnerships, we'll be able to stimulate people that can be able to come up with the solutions. We also have in the MOU, the renaming of the buildings, where the buildings, the main campus of African Bank is being named after our patron. We've got a partnership to do the development, and I'll let Mayor Edna speak more about it, with the Dr. Motsuenyane Communities Comprehensive School. And we also have a Dr. Motsuenyane scholarship. We already have a cohort this year that is the inaugural cohort from locally up all the way from UCT that we've dispersed funds and we're working with to create a generation of the caliber of the leader that our patron is. And we also have an entrepreneurial grant that we hope to create entrepreneurs that can emulate our patron. So we're quite excited, and we're looking forward as the foundation to play a meaningful role in the development of our people. Thank you so much.